that you're going nowhere. Don't blame me for what you've done, because I know that you are having fun.
Welcome to the Clarified Realty Podcast, exposing the real estate secrets your agent doesn't want you to know. Here's your host, Tom Clary.
Well, don't you just walk away. That's when I'll say.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Clarified Realty Podcast. My name is Tom Clary, and I'm your host. I'm a licensed real estate agent here in the beautiful state of California, Los Angeles to be exact. I'm here with my ever-traveling, globe-trotting co-host, Ron Bruno. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Tom. How are you?
Well, you finally decided to come home, did you?
Yeah, you know.
Did you miss me? It was all about missing me, right?
Exactly.
It was like, wow, you
yeah.
know, I can't stay away from Tom this long.
Right.
My heart aches.
Exactly. More so than Gidget. No, not true. Not true.
Gidget is, of course, your puppy. Your
Gidget
dog.
is our little puppy, yes.
You know, it's so funny. I was,
12-year-old puppy.
While you were, yeah, right. But it's still, she's still really small.
Oh, tiny.
It's like one of those little.
That's what. That's
is it
why
a
they
Pomeranian or what is it?
Pomeranian. Yeah.
So
that's why her name is Gidget.
Well,
girl midget.
Oh, I didn't know there was an actual reasoning behind Gidget. Gidget's a name anyway.
Well, Gidget is from Sally Field and the TV show Gidget.
Right.
And the reason why they named her Gidget was because she was short.
Is that why?
Girl midget. Yes.
I had no idea.
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's kind of insensitive? No, insensitive term nowadays?
Probably, but whatever.
Like they couldn't do a remake of Gidget now. They'd have to like...
well, maybe they wouldn't explain it that way.
So well, right? They would
Right.
explain, oh, we're calling you Gidget because you're a girl and a midget.
Right.
Got it.
Well, they had Gidget and Pets, The Secret Life of Pets.
Oh, that's right, didn't they?
Yeah. So Gidget was the white Pomeranian.
Another Pomeranian.
Mm-hmm. So it was the white Pomeranian named Gidget in The Secret Life of Pets. And the younger people that see Gidget on the street, when we take her walking and we tell her the name's Gidget, she's like, oh, like The Secret Life of Pets. Like, yeah.
Before that.
But it would, yeah, she's really known from the TV show.
I was walking through a store while I was pining for you. You know, I walk the earth waiting for you to come home.
Yes.
And I walked into a store and there was a stuffed Pomeranian like stuffed animal thing, and I thought, and it looked just like Gidget.
Really?
Like from the pictures I've seen of Gidget.
Oh, dude, you gotta take pictures.
Well, I almost did, you know. But it was like part of me was like thinking, oh, you know, maybe if I buy it, I'll be in some way connected.
My wife Karen loves that stuff.
Loves the Pomeranian.
Loves the Pomeranian love.
Got it.
Anything related to Gidget. My mom actually, it's funny. We talk about pictures. My mom's actually she just painted a picture of Gidget.
Oh,
so,
painted? Really?
Painted, yes. So that'll be my Facebook profile, I think.
Oh, really? You're gonna put it up? Okay, well, we'll get to see it.
So you'll get to see it. Yes. But she has an homage to Gidget. So
wow.
Yes.
So is it like what kind of, it's a painting period? Or is it like a mixed media thing with like pictures?
No, not like pop art Gidget.
Yeah.
But more of a painting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. My mom's an artist. She's
so is she like an artist, or is it like a hobby kind of thing?
Kind of like a retirement in staying out in the countryside thing.
Right.
You know, when it gets cold out there, my mom and her husband, they live in Abingdon, Virginia, which is right at the foothills of the Appalachians.
Oh, okay.
And they have 8 cows and 2 horses, a big barn that they completely renovated into an art studio.
Oh, wow. So they're living the life.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like...
Yeah, they turned a milk parlor into a spa.
A milk
parlor, like, you know, where you're actually like milking cows.
Oh, is that where I am not a boy. I have no idea what that.
When you didn't have a lot of farms in San Fernando.
When you say
Valley?
Milk parlor, I'm thinking like Clockwork Orange.
No, nothing like that. So no. Like a milking, they call it. I guess a milk parlor is the best name of it. But that's where you would send the cows in, and then they would stay there. You milk them, and then they go out.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
But in I guess it was I don't even know, like the management room on the other side. So they kept all of the. I'll show you pictures, but on the side where the cows went, they kept that completely intact. But on the other side, they completely renovated it, and it overlooks the hills. So they turned it into, they have a whirlpool. They open it up. There's French doors, and it opens up to a patio.
Yeah.
So they could just, chill there with their wine and
Nice.
overlook everything, and more artwork.
There,
and all
by
that.
the way, I think that's a common kind of, fantasy that people have of buying a farm and buying some sort of
that's what they did. They
farmhouse.
bought a turn of the century, 19th century farmhouse, completely gutted it all the way down to the studs.
Wow.
And it was a working farm back in the day. So, they had the main house, which they completely, put in new electricity, new plumbing. And Preston, my mom's husband, that's his background. He flipped homes in Alabama, and he was in the Coast Guard, and that was where he would make money on the side, right? So he would flip homes, and they found this place. They wanted to live somewhere that was quiet, had a good cost of living.
Yeah.
And they found this, fell in love with Abingdon, Virginia, which is a very, it's
Is there much around that area, or
the town itself is really cool, right?
Is it?
So they've got great restaurants, and the theater is really well known, the Barter Theater, for people in the area.
Yeah.
A lot of people go there for conferences. So Abington, the town itself, is fairly well known, but outside of that, extremely rural. Right. So where they live is just farmland everywhere. Right. So they took this house, completely renovated it, and they also had all of these other elements. So they had like a chicken coop, they had the milking parlor, they had a barn where, when I first visited, there was still tobacco hanging from like the 50s or whenever. They were still farming
tobacco.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's amazing what they've been able to do, and just completely renovate it and take the time, and it's really impressive.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So before we move on to the news of the day, but your trip was a big long trip. You went.
Yeah, it was funny. Like I was looking at the calendar and I was talking to Karen. I was like, wow. I can't believe that we were out basically for a month, a whole month.
No,
right?
It was pretty close to that.
So it was just one trip after another. So it was first trip to Dallas for Technology Ball, and then also. I'm starting to build out my practice out in the Dallas area. There's a lot of people buying homes there, right? So it's a pretty hot market. And then from there, went to Engel and Volker's Exchange Conference.
Right. That was up in Seattle.
That was in Seattle.
Right.
So that was.
But I think we talked to you after that, though, didn't we?
Yes. Yeah. So met with a lot of advisors from all over. They call them advisors from all over the country. And then from there, had a quick trip back here, and then we were back out on the road, and we were went on a 7-day cruise.
Yes.
Yeah. So started in Miami, which was amazing. I mean, have you been to Miami?
I've never been. I've never been. Oh no, I shouldn't say that. I've never been to Miami. Definitely not. No.
You've never? Okay.
Yeah. No. I've been. I was about to say I've never been east of St. Louis, but then I remembered that I've been to New York once.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
got it.
So I have been to the East Coast, but I've never been to Florida.
Got it. Okay. I thought you were saying you've never been east of the 405.
No, yeah, I've never been east of the 405. I won't make my way over to Glendale.
Don't know what it's like.
I think Glendale needs to stay where it is, and I need to stay where I am in Woodland Hills.
Well, and then there's some people that they never go north of Sunset. So
yeah, and that's true, by the way.
Oh yeah,
that's a
and
real,
south of the 10.
When I was, when I was going through, when I was separated and I was, living my life and. My single life again, and I would live for a bit in Santa Monica, and it was like
I lived in Santa Monica for years.
Did you really?
I did.
Yeah, I mean it's a different kind of lifestyle. It's kind of it's interesting, and my work was in Venice, so that kind of general like Santa Monica, Venice area,
right?
And the way that they would talk about the valley was literally the most kind of like. You do know that like they're just people, right? It's like you make it sound like you're going to like feelings. Wyoming,
right?
It's like it's not just Applebee's, guys,
right?
We have a few really good restaurants too, So yeah, no, that's a very real thing.
Oh, yeah.
The
yes.
way people despise that.
Valley discrimination.
It is valley discrimination.
Yes.
But then you're back, and and you came back, had a nice Easter.
Oh yeah, we had a nice Easter. Karen and I, we cooked some lamb shanks with polenta and had a watermelon and beet salad. It was delicious.
That's nice.
Yeah, we usually have people over. We have the orphans for folks that have family.
Not actual orphans.
Not actual orphans,
No.
but folks that friends, not folks, but friends that have family on the East Coast, or so everyone has a nice Easter,
Right.
But yeah, we had just got back from the cruise, so we were still catching up,
Right.
But yeah, it was an amazing cruise. We went to Puerto Rico. So from Miami, we set sail, went to Puerto Rico, went to St. Martin, and to St. Kitts and Nevis, which was incredible. Nevis.
That's one of. Sorry, I was about to go. I had a really bad joke there, and I caught it. Do you see? I caught it.
I heard.
It was about to come out of my brain.
Yes,
and I caught it. But
not Beavis.
Not Beavis.
Not Beavis or
No,
Butthead.
it had nothing to do with that.
Not them. Oh, it was going to go in a different
not a
direction.
really good direction. But
Nevis is gorgeous. It's a tiny little island, and they don't have an airport there. It's all by boat.
Yeah.
And it's in the center of it is one giant volcano. Right?
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's like big giant volcano, and the reason why they call it Nevis is it came from the Spanish word of nieves, which meant
Just get
snow.
the hell away from the volcano.
No. Yeah, exactly. No, snow. They thought it was the early settlers. They thought it was snow because it's 4,000 feet, and everything else is down on the land.
Right.
So it's always covered in clouds.
Oh, interesting.
Always covered in clouds. So they called it Nieves, and Nevis is kind of the what it turned into.
Yeah.
But gorgeous. That's actually where Alexander Hamilton was born.
Oh.
So we went to
there we go.
my brother and I. He was very proud because we got a $10 bill, so we can hand it to the cashier. We've got it on video where he's handing the
Hamilton. And they're like nodding, going, "Thank you."
Yeah, we've never seen that before.
Wow.
And of course, they were playing the Hamilton soundtrack.
Oh, were they really?
Yes.
That's hysterical.
Yes. But that was fun. It was kind of a fun moment to be out in the middle of the Caribbean. And then I found out from my mom, she had Facebooked me and said, "Oh, that's your grandparents actually vacationed there." I was like, "Wow, this place is remote now. I can't even imagine."
Like a Bruno
what it was
magnet.
Like. Kind of, yes. I don't know. Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah, very pretty though. Very, very fun. I think that was probably one of the highlights of our trip.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, so let's go ahead and let's dive in. Today is going to be a news day where we're going to just kind of talk about the latest happenings in the real estate world. What is our first thing up on the docket for today?
Well, let's talk about, speaking of Facebook. So This one's from the New York Times, and it says Facebook vowed to end discriminatory housing ads. Suit says it didn't.
Right.
Whoopsie. So it says fair housing groups filed a lawsuit in federal court on Tuesday saying that Facebook continues to discriminate against certain groups, including women, disabled veterans, and single mothers, in the way that it allows advertisers to target the audience for their ads.
Right. I mean, that's sort of why people it's not why people completely advertise on Facebook, because they're advertising on Facebook because the audience is there, right? That's where the where the attention is, right?
Correct.
So that's why that's one of the reasons why people are advertising on Facebook. But one of the more specific reasons people are advertising on Facebook is that they can narrow down the audience to such a laser-like hit to people. They're saving money. Right?
That's right.
If they know that their demographic is X, Y, or Z, they don't want to spend money on A, B, and C.
Right.
So they really want to narrow it down. But the problem is that runs afoul with fair housing discrimination stuff. So and it's interesting because I heard through the different groups that I go on Facebook, like there's other real estate groups, and like where everybody kind of mind melts and says, hey, it's just, here's a story that's happening to me. By the way, there's lots of times that they're telling stories that they really shouldn't be telling. Where it's like, boy, this is how incompetent I am. Let's make sure that I don't,
Right.
How am I going to get myself out of this mess?
I have my first listing appointment. What do I do?
We have seen those posts, I swear to God. And but the interesting thing is that one of the things I've been seeing is, hey, my ad got turned down and I don't know why. Or, why is it they're turning down my ad or whatever. I think that Facebook was trying to make this change. They basically, people were going on, landlords, even real estate agents, I believe so, basically saying, hey, I only want this to target, white males over the age of 40. And then, anyone who is in any other race, any other age, wouldn't see it. So you're basically de facto discriminating against those people who didn't see the ad.
Right. No, it's true. It's true. And it's interesting. So, I look at this in kind of two camps, right? So, compliance within an organization, whether it be in financial or real estate, or I call them the business prevention police.
Yeah. Those guys are the biggest wet blankets.
Yeah.
Literally.
But I mean, is it really Facebook's job to police where these agents place their ads? I mean, that's something that typically compliance would do. Right. They would look at the ad and make sure that that you have all of the the fair housing logo and you've got all the right information and all of that right before it goes to print. Right. But with Facebook, it's so quick and it's there. I don't know. I mean, is that something that
what's interesting,
the companies should police?
I think that there was some sort of law, and please, I'm not an attorney, so please don't quote me on this, but there was a law that basically it basically said that any third party would not be held liable for this kind of stuff, and so that would be Facebook, you would think, right? But I think we're in such a different kind of world now where they facilitate it so easily that they almost have to. If they don't want the government coming in and regulating them, they have to do something on their own to try and do it.
Yeah.
And it's funny because when this whole Cambridge Analytica thing happened with all the the information and how Zuckerberg got crucified for it, and my stock took a big old dump, right? But one of the things that he noted, and I thought that was one of the biggest things that he said during his apology tour, was that he needs to bring more people on. He needs to bring more employees on. And when you think about it, if every single ad needs to be, somehow vetted to be, I mean, that's a lot of bodies. That's not something AI can do. Right?
No, it's true.
It's not. It's because you got to look at the ad copy. You got to look at the image. You've got to go. Does this really does this work in terms of, is it discriminatory? Is it not discriminatory? That's a person. That's a body. And that's a bottom line thing.
Well, I mean, now you're getting back into old school advertising, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, that's where I started my career. So,
and it's not as instantaneous either, right? Because Facebook, people love that they can hit a button, right? And I can change my audience, the audience that sees one of my ads, instantaneous, or at least there's some sort of lag, maybe about 10 minutes, 20 minutes, right?
Right.
But if every single ad has to go through this really tight screening, that process is either going to get prolonged, or he's got to bring thousands of bodies in who can do the vetting,
which ultimately would hurt the stock price, right?
And,
because the profitability of the company, or they're going to have to charge more.
They're going to have to charge more,
right?
Exactly.
Which may make Facebook not as attractive as something else,
right?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, when I worked in advertising, we would make sure that everything was proofread internally, and then also the client, they would have to proofread it as well, and they would have to send the ad to legal, and the publisher, they would give us the guidelines, and it would have to fit within certain bounds, and then they would have to approve the ad, right? And then once it's approved, then it goes into whatever publication. But something that's interesting is that if you think of discriminatory, if you put an ad in the Robb Report, right, it's not, it is discriminatory from the standpoint where I guess that magazine's available to everybody,
but it's
targeting a specific audience, right? So it's kind of a gray area.
Well, and look, you're always going to find folks who are, and I think they even mentioned it in this article, right? In that, even if you're not, plain black and white saying, no Asian people, should see this, this thing, right? But if you say something along the lines of, people who read mommy group blogs, or people who whatever, you're obviously leaning female, right?
Right.
It's, how are you going to, I don't know how you're going to police that. I don't understand. People people don't understand the tools that Facebook has and how it can narrow down your marketing audience so specifically. Like I can actually target people who work at a specific company in a specific area, right? And if they're predominantly white or if they're predominantly male, guess what's going to happen? There's not going to be any, other races that are going to be seeing that. No genders, other genders are going to see it.
Right.
There's ways that this is going to be abused and around anyway. I don't know how the genie is out of the bottle. How do you get this thing back in the bottle? I wouldn't want to be Zuckerberg right now.
No,
I mean, other than the money.
Well,
other than the billions of dollars that he has.
Right, but what they say is that it says this goes to the heart of their business.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, it's literally
they earned almost all of their money, $40 billion in revenue, by selling ads.
It's their business model.
So if you can no longer target specific markets and specific people, and that's the reason why people use it, and that it becomes more expensive, then done.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, you've made it toothless. You've basically made Facebook toothless in terms of a business.
Right.
People might still pick it up and, want to use it but it'll disappear one day. It'll become the MySpace of whatever,
Right.
Yeah. I have to say, even with all this, the thing the kind of controversy that kind of happened over the last couple of weeks, I never thought that Facebook would get hit like they got hit. That's a big old ding in the side of it now. It got a dent.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't expect it to. I thought it'd be a lot more able to resist this kind of.
Well, and we were talking about it a little bit earlier. So Amazon got smashed.
Yeah,
too,
we were talking about Amazon,
right? And that was kind of a. Trump going after Amazon.
Amazon's not going anywhere.
Where, they look at it as anti-competitive, right?
Yeah.
They're just essentially a big giant monopoly, and they're gobbling up mom and pop businesses.
They're gobbling up real estate.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're gobbling up mortgage.
Right.
They're considering going into these businesses.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be an Amazon world.
Yeah. And, this is all just, hearsay and whatever's on, different blogs and things that are out there. But, the reason why Trump hasn't necessarily, completely gone after Facebook is because he likes the platform.
Right. It's like Twitter. It'd be like him trying to shut down Twitter. It's not going to happen,
Right.
It's like,
that's his mouthpiece.
That's how he talks,
Exactly.
He talks in tweets,
Yeah, it's true.
So, yeah, I have my other reasons, what we've talked about, why I think that he's going after Amazon. I think the Washington Post, that's owned by Jeff Bezos, I bet you they've got something on him. And they went to probably his administration or to him and said, "Do you have a comment about this?" So he knows ahead of time about what's coming down the pike. I bet you're going to see some sort of huge announcement from the Washington Post over the next week or two.
Yeah.
That's my bet.
All right.
Anyway, so what's next on the...
so this one, we were talking about AI, right? So
Yes.
This one is from the Denver Post, and this says, can artificial intelligence outflank human real estate brokers? Rex, a tech-powered firm, thinks so. So Rex, it's backed by Sun Microsystems. The founder, Scott McNeely, says promises 2% commissions and full service.
Look,
this is your world, man.
This is my world. And what's so funny is that they say that they're based in Woodland Hills, and part of me just wants
I know.
Part of me wants to go.
I knew you would.
I
knew you'd see that.
I'm going to drive through the streets of Woodland Hills with Molotov cocktail and say, no, seriously. There's that kind of part where you don't want to be the last taxi cab driver and when Uber comes in, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so I'm trying to resist my urge to kind of, go, no, there's no possible way.
Right.
And all that kind of thing. But here's my dual feelings about this. My first feeling about it is that there's this kind of, can a computer do as good a job as me? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And here's my feeling. I don't know. The answer is no. It's, at least at this point. Computer can't take a call at 9:00 at night and talk somebody off of a ledge.
True.
Who is going to be, having a problem with this, with the transaction. A computer can't look into a building and see like that there's a the crack in the foundation, or there's some sort of something wrong with it. Like it's not that yet.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's the other side of that coin. But is what they're offering enough that people would go, well, it's cheap enough, I don't care about that.
Right.
And I can't, people will constantly make a bad decision because they think it's cheaper. It happens every day.
Right.
You will go and I go get coffee at 7-Eleven because because it's 80 cents. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it tastes like motor oil. You know what I mean? It's like,
Right.
It tastes like, I had a girlfriend once. She got free tickets to a play.
Mm-hmm.
This is a true story. Free tickets. I don't know if this really applies, but I think it applies. But we went to the play, and it was literally it was an autobiographical play about a folk singer, right?
Okay.
And we went in, and I didn't know who this person was. But it was a free ticket.
Right.
It was a free ticket.
Yeah.
Right. And so we're sitting there, and I'm going, I gotta go. I can't be here. This is terrible. This is absolutely terrible.
Right.
And it was at like the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion, or like the Mark Taper or something like that. So
Yeah.
we're talking, it wasn't like, some sort of like, little hole in the wall in
Right.
West Hollywood.
Right.
We're talking like this was a real thing, right? But it was so awful. And so at an intermission, thank God, it's like intermission. We get out, and Phantom of the Opera is playing at the Amundsen next door, right?
Yep.
So I'm like, hey, let's go sneak in and try and find a seat in the Phantom of the Opera. She goes, and the girlfriend goes, well, no, we got these tickets to go to this.
Man.
And I go, well, why are we? No, like we're in pain. You're in pain. I'm in pain. Let's go to the Amundsen.
Yeah.
Right? And she goes, well, no, but these are free.
Oh man.
And I said, hold on a second. If someone gave you free tainted meat, it's still tainted meat. You're not going to eat it, right? So the point I'm trying to get at here, and it's kind of a circuitous thing here, but people do stupid shit for free or for cheap.
Yes.
And they will be perfectly satisfied with having less.
Karen and I actually walked out of one of the performances that they had on the ship.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
It was so bad. It was so bad.
That's always the worst feeling, by the way. It's like, can they see me,
Oh, no, we were way up. Like, we were way in
good.
the back. Yeah, they couldn't see
What was the
us.
performance, if I may ask?
It was horrible. I mean, it was
Was it
kind
a play
of like,
or a musical, or was
it was like a musical. It was like Frozen with Cirque du Soleil, like a really bad Cirque du Soleil.
Wow.
With the combination of contemporary hits, where they would play like Evermore, or like the like weird stuff.
I'm gonna walk out of this description, let alone out of the actual.
Yeah, it was horrible. Like
Wow.
it was like this fairy tale thing on this really cheap, put together set, and then it went right into, singing these contemporary hits. And I think we left when they started singing "Baby You're a Firework" with Katy Perry. We're like, we're done. I mean, Karen and I looked at each other. She's like, "You really want?" I'm like, "Nope."
No.
And we just walked out.
Yeah.
It was free.
Yeah.
It was free. But to your point,
Yeah.
there are people that, yes, if it's discounted, but I think it also gets to the heart of DIY, right?
Yeah,
There's
right.
lots of people that are completely comfortable going to Home Depot and buying up all the materials.
Right.
And I mean, I see it as suffering through it, but a lot of other people see
Yeah.
it as a project.
Right. I will pay someone to take.
Yeah.
Take
So
that
if I
over.
wanted, if Karen and I, we bought a place and we wanted to add on an addition, there would be no way in hell I would go to Home Depot and try to figure this stuff out on my own.
Right.
No way.
No.
That's just not how,
Well,
that's not how I'm wired. That's not how she's
For
wired.
me, it's not even about like the luxury of letting somebody else do it.
Mhm.
I know that if I take a shot at it,
Yeah.
I'm going to screw it up 10 times worse. It's going to lend, where there used to be a toilet, there's now going to be a huge, pit in the ground. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
Where I tried to make it right and I screwed up, and
I'm also not going to do my own brain surgery either.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
So I always, ever since, at a very young age, working at Taco Bell, right? So, that was my first job at 12 years old. My dad had a saying. He's like, put the aces in their places.
Right.
And it's basically being resourceful.
Right.
And that's just how I prefer it.
Well, now, what is it? Now, what are they actually saying that they can provide on this? Are they?
Yeah, I mean, so where I see the opportunity.
Oh, that was by the way.
Yeah.
This is something else that has to do with the Facebook what we just talked about, because it's using that kind of what do they call it?
Psychographic data.
Psychographic data.
Yep.
To choose to find buyers for you. Well, how can you do that without being discriminatory?
So, well,
you know what I'm saying? You're running that same fine line.
Yeah. So, I mean, so the Rex founder, Jack Ryan, so what he says is, we can predict who will be the buyer for your home. We are not relying on the MLS to find us a buyer. And then it says that psychographic data and online behavior helps the firm understand who might be interested in buying a particular house. Rex uses predictive analytics to target potential buyers in an effort to get them to show up at an open house or make an offer, and it hones its understanding with each sale. Right? So kind of like Zillow, where they're, taking in all this data, and they're crafting.
You know what else does that? Waze.
Okay.
Right? Waze, it measures how fast things go, and every single day it's getting, it finds better routes for you, and and guess what? You know how many times in the last month I've been led to the wrong place by Waze?
Oh, really?
Absolutely.
I can't deal with Waze because it constantly gives you alerts, and I'm ADD as it is, and it freaks me out. It's like you're driving along, and regular Google
Turn
Maps.
left in 50 yards.
No,
Oh,
not that. No. So the Google Maps is like, in a mile, turn left on Westlake Village Boulevard, right? But on Waze, it's like alert or like, watch out.
Yeah, right.
Freaks me out.
Police up ahead.
Yeah, like any of that stuff.
Right.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
Right, because I'm usually listening to something, like a podcast, for example.
Right.
And then that freaks me out. So,
but look, with this whole thing, agents don't want to be. Anybody doesn't want to be the last adopter. You know
correct.
What I mean? Nobody wants to go. I thought for sure that the horse-drawn carriage was going to be the end all be all.
Right.
I mean, so I think that AI, at least for right now. I mean, I'm a firm believer that I'm holding up my cell phone. I'm a firm believer that the cell phone isn't ready for prime time yet. I'm sorry. There are too many places where I can't get a phone call.
Right.
I can't do whatever. If I'm literally carrying a phone around with me, you would think, you can get a phone call anywhere. No, you can't. You're going to have spots and gaps and things that aren't working.
Right.
And I think it's the same with this AI thing. You're basically, there's probably some stuff there that's probably going to be helpful in certain situations. If they can help your agent, maybe if this AI was something that was more open source to agents to use, how they, to other, for other agents, not this company.
Right.
Then maybe they could use that as to piggyback on top of the services the agent already uses.
Right. Well, and that's where I was kind of thinking is, I think it's a great tool to have this predictive analytics where an agent can use it as part of their marketing campaign.
Right.
So that they can make sure that they target the right people, the right.
Well, smart agents are doing that anyway, at least the tech savvy ones.
True.
Right.
True.
Probably that 60s, and I don't want to be ageist here, right? But just realistically, there's a curve. I mean, but there's Luddites that are, 20,
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that there's a good chance that maybe they don't know about all the new technology that you can use to really dig in and find, folks who would be looking for that. I talked about that listing that I had where it was like, I targeted it was in, what's the place over by LAX? Westchester, thank you. And, I targeted all the tech companies in Silicon Beach because I could go to Facebook and literally go, those are the folks that are probably going to be looking for this house. And I targeted them like a laser.
Yeah.
And so.
And was the buyer actually from
Snapchat?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
He came from Snapchat.
Wow.
So yeah, it worked. You know what I mean? So my feeling is that your agent should probably be doing this anyway.
Right.
Yeah. But if they're not, then it wouldn't be harmful for them to have a tool that they could use that does it.
Right.
But that's not what they're marketing this as. They're marketing as we're gonna do it all.
Right.
And only charge you 2% or whatever.
Right.
And
I think in a perfect world, sure, it could work. It's just fine. It's just like, like a FSBO, right? For sale by owner.
Yeah.
If everything goes perfectly fine, then it's great. But if things go south, which they typically do in a transaction.
Well, Ron, I mean, you know better than, I mean, I know, you know, it's like a flight. They say that a pilot
Correct.
is correcting it. You never take off directly towards where you're going.
Right.
You're literally the entire time correcting your navigation.
That's right.
So if you're telling me that the computer can do that, that the AI
Right.
can do that,
Right.
then I'm interested. I'll listen to it.
Right.
But I'm sure as hell not handing it the keys.
No. And I think people that have already been through transactions, or you know, are people that you know that are like me, that they wouldn't you know just put all of their faith into something that's so important and you know with all the money on the line without having someone they trust.
Yeah.
Right. So I think people that you know that are open to new things, that you know they don't like working with people, they prefer the do-it-yourself things. Yeah, this might be a market for them, and that's fine, right? You know what this said is in February there was a home sold in Metro Denver, right? And it said that you know traditionally that's $30,000 in commission, but Rex would charge $10,000. So you know there
also,
could be a market for this.
Another thing about this, Ron, is that it's this whole fallacy of the image of a real estate agent being a dog with a bone in its mouth. You know what I mean? Like literally, like we're out there just to get you a house. You know what I mean? All we're doing is we're gonna go get you a buyer and drag a buyer into your house.
Right.
There's that's like, if I was to judge like on a pie chart of what percentage of what I do is, I would say that's only like 10 to 20% of what I do.
Right.
It's so small. I mean, what a real estate agent does and where their value is happens after that.
Oh yeah.
That's where the real talent comes in, where you know about, you know, permits, you know about this, you know about how, you know, what the inspector should be looking for, how to negotiate, you know, what the inspection finds, when an appraisal goes wrong, you know, and you get it for, you know, $100,000 less than what you need it to in order to get your loan.
Well, and so like if this was on the lending side, you know, it was kind of crazy. So I think I was actually I was direct messaging you on the plane when this was occurring, and since it's closed, I can now say a little bit about it. But basically, you know, we had a 45-day close, and it was $1 million home in Texas. And, you know, we had it set up where it was going to close in 45 days. And on Tuesday, so it was supposed to close on Thursday. And then on Tuesday afternoon, I get a call from the seller, the listing agent, and she was asking for an update. And I said, you know, we're working on getting the clear to close. And she said, well, it would be in your best interest to get it closed on Thursday, or else it'll be really bad. And I'm like, what?
Wow,
the
that's
hell?
a very non-specific threat.
The hell does that mean? So I'm like, okay, could you elaborate? She said no, and I was like, oh, awesome. So of course I called my buyer's agent and was like, you have any idea about this? And she's like, I have a feeling that they're going to try to back out of the deal.
Yeah.
And you know, if this was all part of Rex, forget it.
No,
it wouldn't. You know, they would have put it in their predictive computer and said, you can't close it.
Right.
It can't get closed, right? Because you know you set it up. It's a computer, right? So you set up the times where you know it takes this much time to do this task, and then this task, and this task, and it'll say error.
Well,
right?
it's binary.
Right, it's binary.
It's literally binary.
Yeah, it's all the inputs that you put in there. So, you know, unless you have a human that is manipulating things,
right, and,
you know, pulling the buttons and pushing the triggers and making the calls and all that, it doesn't happen.
Right.
Right. So, you know, if it wasn't for, you know, me jumping in and basically, you know, slamming it through, it wouldn't have closed, in which case the buyers would have had, you know, they have been on the hook for $30,000 deposit and lost the home. Right. Because it had, you know, this was information that we learned on Tuesday, that it's, you have to close on Thursday or else. Right. You always want to close on time, but there's, you know, you don't have that or else. Right. I've never been in that situation where you've got an agent on the other side that, you know, that has that. I mean, usually if it's going to be a day later, you know, you're not going to sign, you know, you're not going to, you know, push somebody to the point where, you know, you almost screw it up.
Yeah.
Right. Because you're like, I'll get paid the next day. Yeah. Right. So that example, I mean, literally, I was on my computer and making sure that I cleared the CD, like the close and disclosure, and made sure that was good. And then, worked with my processor and worked with the client, sending emails on the plane, from LA to Fort Lauderdale. And if this was all done through the computer, couldn't have done it.
Yeah.
You couldn't have done it, right? So, if everything is perfect, then sure, you could go through this route and go through the channels and everything else. Another thing is, an agent, they have a nuance and they have relationships with other agents.
Yeah, right.
Right? So computers don't.
Yep, absolutely.
Right? So when you're
The only
submitting
times
an offer...
You can call up and say, hey, hey, Joe, how you been? How are the kids?
Right.
All that kind of thing. Hey, man, I got a great, I have a great client.
Yep.
Love to, I think you guys would, do really... It means something.
Absolutely.
It absolutely means something, and it gets you the leg up. Or or if I'm on the listing side and a buyer's agent that I have a relationship comes up with me, and I'm like, tell me the truth. Are they, what's going on?
Right.
Is it really? Oh my God, yeah, don't worry about it. We're just having an issue getting this X, Y. Oh, well, shoot, that's not a big deal. When a computer would be like, danger, Well Robinson, danger. You know what I mean?
Well, right. Yeah. So, so you list the home on Rex and you have the number there or the email, which is even worse. But, you have that and you're like, okay, so I'm representing this buyer. I think they're great. You submit the offer through whatever channel they need to put it in. Okay, so how do you follow up with that person? Right. And who is the one that answers on the other line? It's not the listing agent.
Right.
It's someone at Rex. Right. It's someone who is, 20 years old and is just following
They're working
a script.
in a phone center.
Right. That hasn't worked a day in real estate in their life.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, well, wait. Like, how exactly is your customer service? Right.
Well, but here's the thing though, that we can sit here and talk about it for, we've now been talking about 10, 15 minutes or whatever, right?
Right.
But the thing is that, well, of course we know what's wrong with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
We know that this is stupid. We know that there's,
I like the technology. I don't.
Well, you know what
like
I'm saying, though.
Completely replacing the industry.
Well, right, exactly.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm not saying that. Like I've said, that this might be a valuable tool, right? But what I'm saying is that Joe Public, who
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have a real estate license, who doesn't go out daily
Right.
and do this out in the trenches,
Yeah.
he's going to go look and go, oh, dude, I can do it for 2%. Let's do this.
Right.
They're not gonna know everything that can go wrong. They don't know what they don't know.
Right.
And
Well, and I mean, and most people think they're like, oh, because it's a discount brokerage, they're not gonna, you're not gonna get the higher price, right? You make up for it in the agent savvy and being able to attract a higher price. And what they are saying is, no, if you look at the the days of the stockbrokers where they charge higher commissions, then you had the discount brokerages that moved in. Did it reduce the number of people buying? It actually increased because they made it more accessible to people, right? So that's their their response to it. Where no, it'll actually spur competition because you have people that are for vying for that. Ultimately, as an agent, you have to show your worth. You have to show your value.
Absolutely, but what I'm kind of railing against is the Uberification of everything, where basically Uber came in and to the driving, and you could do the ride sharing thing, and that's fantastic, and everybody's their own entrepreneur and fantastic,
right?
Great, right? But it was an illusion. It's such an illusion of things being easier. All it did was put an app in your hand that made you go, oh, I can click it and I can watch the car come and pick me up. And that's all it really kind of gave you. You're not really saving that much money because during high, volume times, the price goes up.
Right.
You know what I mean? It all evens out in the end, right?
But a car ride is very different than a transaction of a home.
No. But what I'm saying, absolutely,
right?
100%.
And the whole thing about Uberification of, I'm not going against you. I'm just saying in general.
But every industry is trying to do this now.
Right.
Everybody's trying to quote unquote disrupt.
Yeah.
And trust me, there's plenty in the real estate industry that needs to go away or needs to be revamped or needs to be somehow fixed.
Right.
But what we don't need to do is completely, be bamboozled.
Right.
Because it's got bells and whistles and it's on your phone and an app and I can do it from my house.
Right.
That, there's some things in life I have to say, and it's interesting because I think that even over the past 10 years, there was kind of a move towards an artisanal kind of way of dealing with things, like an artisanal food, farm to table, like tilling the soil with your own hands kind of thing, right? And I looked at that going, God, I wish real estate was more like that, right? I wish it was more of, folks, getting down to the basics of, and that's why I'm doing this, the podcast,
right?
Is like to really get you, so that when you're out there and you're working with an agent, it's a heightened relationship. You have the information, you know what they're talking about, and it's you're really finding those kind of artists, the artisanal, was it artist or what would it be?
No, I
think
think
they're artisanal, but,
yeah, that's good.
But you know what I'm saying is that it's a heightened sense of what you're doing rather than, I'm just going to let somebody else do it for me, and I'm going to let a computer just, take over this whole thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think that this whole AI thing, there's too many things that it can't do.
Right.
It just can't do it.
Yeah. I mean, I would see, if I were a big real estate company like a Sotheby's or a Keller Williams, I would buy this technology.
100%, by the way.
And then use that as a competitive advantage.
Absolutely.
And offer it to my, top producers.
You are you're absolutely dead on with that.
That's how I would use it. I don't see this replacing it. And sure there will be people out there that are, it's cool. It's, has a, slick interface and all that. But yeah, I mean, to completely replace it. And, sure, Uber, took over the black cab service and cabs and everything else. But it's low value, right?
Yeah,
it's very hard for a cab driver to say, well, I've got the best value because I get to that place 2 minutes earlier than everybody else. Well, who cares? What's 2 minutes? Right? People value time.
The Uber you get to choose what radio station you listen to.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like
wow.
That's the kind of value that you're defending. So if that's the value that you have as a real estate agent, then you're going to be replaced anyways.
Anyway, yeah. And
right?
you deserve to be.
And you deserve to be, right? Yeah. But someone who has the experience and the know-how and the inside track and can actually, see what's going on, and then has the ability to manage all of that, right? Whether in the air or on land, those are the real professionals, right? And those cannot be replaced.
Right. It's one little note, and then I want to move on to. We're going to actually jump to that last story because we're about to close it up. We're actually been talking a long time.
Have we?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
But no, the one thing, KW. I'm a KW agent, and they just came out with their own kind of AI personal assistant.
Oh yeah,
it's like a
Kelly.
It's like a chat bot, basically. It's really all it is. It's really not that.
Have you used Kelly?
I've kind of nosed around inside of it. It's really it's not. I'm not impressed. But what would be impressive is if they did something like buy out Rex or whatever like that and make it part of Kelly.
Right.
That would be really interesting because it would be that would really be AI that would be helpful.
Well, in addition to Scott McNeely, I mean, they also have, it says here, Gordon Siegel, who is the founder of Crate and Barrel, Dick Schultz, the founder of Best Buy, and Amit Singhal, the former vice president of search at Google.
Oh, wow.
So they have backers.
They got some that's powerful backers.
That's big. It says they brought in $15 million from investors to increase its total raise to $30 million.
Well, another thing is that I saw they had some column in some website about the robots showing. Have you seen this?
No. What happened?
Where they have like robots that will now show properties.
Oh wow!
And it's literally it looks like a Segway with a monitor on it, right? And it takes you around the different rooms and all that kind of thing. And I just couldn't help but think Google Glass. Like I literally think, okay, so
cool.
You want to take out the agent, so that people don't want to be around an agent. We hate people, so let's just not even acknowledge that there's a human being here.
Right.
Let's just go. We'll do a remote unlock of the house from my computer. Right. So I'll let them into my house.
Right.
And then I've got a freaking robot here.
Yeah.
Right. It's going to roll around and answer the question. I think it's like even the Rex thing says that there's 75 questions that are almost always asked.
Right.
By the whatever. And but people are going to walk around and feel like freaking idiots,
right? Talking
to a goddamn robot.
Yeah.
That's something I don't think people have. It's like people thought Google Glass is going to be, oh, that's so cool. You can actually look at. People look like douchebags, right? I saw some guy at a conference one time and he had the Google Glass on, and he was like, wow, that guy really has no self-perception of what he looks like. It's
Right.
really remarkable.
Yeah.
People aren't they're gonna feel weird. It's like, oh, it's a robot. It's like talking to a Roomba, you know, or something like that. Nobody's gonna care.
Yeah. Well, I mean, people, they have, until I guess people get comfortable, talking to robots and
that ain't it.
Interacting
It
with
ain't
them.
now.
It's no. I mean,
Did you see that video that Will Smith did with the robot there was
No.
gosh, go online to YouTube.
Okay.
He did this it was very funny actually. It's a funny video where they set up one of these humanoid robots and he's talking, it's like a first date, quote unquote, with it.
Yeah.
And he's talking to it and you just go, that's one of the weirdest things I've ever seen.
Oh,
it's
that's
like
creepy.
it's the uncanny valley. It just people can. It's like they're not even close to making a humanoid that like is going to be worth talking to. You know what I mean? So. All right. Well, cool. Let's move on to our last story, which is a kick in the pants.
Oh yeah, this one's fun. So this one's from Fox News.
Oh,
shocker!
How did I see that coming? Fox News had this story.
They did. It's
really?
true. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I can't believe it.
California homeowner says she won't sell to Trump supporters.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Looking to buy a home in Sacramento, California? Well, if you support President Trump, at least one homeowner reportedly says she doesn't want to sell her home to you.
Yeah.
That's right. So she made it clear to her realtor that, her request is said that, she says that you can ask anybody how they voted, but they don't have to provide that information.
Yes, they don't.
So isn't this discriminatory? Back to our...
I don't believe this. It's not a protected class, but at the same point, it can be... It could impinge on First Amendment rights, I think some attorney said that, right?
It says discrimination based on one's political views is an unlawful contractual term that infringes the freedom of association
I think
and First Amendment rights.
It's unenforceable.
Yeah.
I just look, guys, look, I'm.
I just looked at one of the comments.
I know.
It says, so lie and tell her you voted for Hillary, and after you move in, put in a Trump sign on the lawn.
Listen, guys, if that's making it, it's interesting. We have our own political leanings. I have mine. Ron has his.
Right.
And look,
we're fair and balanced, just like Fox.
You are fair and balanced. There was a time where I was thinking like, hey, maybe I'm not gonna out myself here, but where I basically said, listen, maybe I should, lean into that. Maybe I should go and like there's some agents out there. There's one agent that I know of that is so anti-Trump that it's like I look at his post and I go, whoa, how do you?
There are a lot of them.
There's a lot of them, and they kind of wear their politics on their sleeve, and it's a choice that you have to make. Do you come out and say, hey, I'm a this, or hey, I'm a that,
right?
And in California, you could probably do okay either way, pretty much. I don't think it. I mean, it doesn't really. So there's no. I mean, but at some point, it's what it's like. Julie, my wife, is a wills and trust attorney, and so often, this is so funny. She'll tell me about how, like, one of her clients, she's got a client that's trying to control from the grave. Right? It's like literally like trying to say, listen, when I die, my money goes to this person and that person, which is what they're supposed to be doing.
Sure.
Right? But if they decide to not go to college, or if they decide to do something, they're trying to control the psychological behavior of these people with their money. Right? Or whatever.
Right.
But they're dead.
Yeah.
They're freaking dead. Right?
They were jerks in the real life, and now they're being jerks
now
in the
they're being
grave.
jerks from the grave.
Now there are certain cases where they could be like a drug addict, or you don't want to give them access.
Absolutely, we're not talking.
Yeah,
absolutely not talking about that. Just imagine a circumstance where she wants to make sure the husband doesn't get married again,
right,
or something like it's like, come on, are you freaking? You're dead,
right?
You're worm food, right? So with this, I'm kind of seeing it in the same kind of through the same kind of prism here,
right?
In that you're gone.
Yeah.
What do you care?
Right.
Get the most money you can for the freaking house,
right,
and move on.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
You might think that Trump is the worst thing that's ever happened to America.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine.
Right.
Right? Have your opinion.
Yeah.
Right? But at the same point,
Yeah.
Get the most for your freaking house.
Exactly.
Look out for you,
Right,
dude.
right. I mean, if it was, if I was that politically charged, I would want to, make sure that if I really, really, really wanted to stick it to them, I'd sell them to it for a higher price.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, right?
Right.
I'm like, so wait a minute. So you're a Trump fan, or what? By the way, why are you talking about that?
Yeah, exactly.
It's freaking business.
Right.
It's business, folks.
Yes.
It shouldn't matter what people look like. Shouldn't matter what they believe. It shouldn't matter whatever.
You know what's funny?
Their money is green. That's all you care about.
On the cruise. So my brother, so my brother and my dad, they bunked up, right? So they
oh, really?
on the cruise, yeah.
Okay.
So
odd couple.
Odd couple. So
Yeah.
it was Karen and me. We had our place, and then my dad's wife and her friend. They had a place, and then it was my brother and my dad. That they had the two separate beds. But what was really funny is the conversation that they would have every morning for breakfast, because we would always meet in breakfast, and then we
right.
then meet for dinner, and
right.
eat like 7 entrees
Yeah,
or
right.
something.
Because that's what you do on a cruise.
That's what you do on the cruise, right? Just keep ordering all this
I've
food.
never been on cruise for that very reason. I know I'm going to gain 200 pounds.
My God, it's crazy.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, it's just it's crazy amounts of food.
Is it good food, though?
Yeah, it is actually good.
So
yeah.
it's good,
but you
and
have to go on
plentiful.
you have to go on certain cruises.
Oh, okay,
yeah. So
got
we
it.
were on Celebrity. The food's great.
Okay,
So we were happy about that. But I mean, it's you have to make the food that appeals to a mass audience.
Right.
Right. So yeah, it's not necessarily somewhat
More
bland.
blandish.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
still pretty good, and they give enough variety.
Yeah.
so
I've
that
always
you can
said that
mix
like
it
Soup
up.
Plantation
Yeah.
is Soylent Green.
Soylent Green.
It's people,
Right. Yeah.
It's like that kind of like everything kind of like, why does the macaroni taste like the pizza?
Right.
Why does the pizza
because
taste like the chocolate mousse?
Yes. Kind of like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we would hear the ongoing debate, and apparently there was this whole passive aggressive thing where when my brother went to bed, my dad had on Fox, and then Tom would turn on CNN. And then he would wake up in the middle of the night and change it back. They would just change it back and forth and back and forth. And and my brother was, he would say something, and my dad's like, Tom, just know that you're just wrong.
Yeah, right. If you were right, I'd agree with you.
It doesn't matter what you say. You're just wrong.
Yes.
And it was like, well, what about Russia? And it was hilarious. It could have been a sitcom.
My parents got an Alexa, and they wanted to make sure that they got my Alexa thing and all that. And then my dad says, "Can you set up this specific news thing?"
Yes.
And I was like, "Yeah, no, I refuse. I will not do that. I won't do that.
You will not do Fox News briefings.
I will not let any kind of
daily briefings.
I'm not saying which one. I'm saying in the middle." But listen, guys, if we actually talked about this, I think it was at episode 9, I think. I think it was where we were talking about how you're in control of your own destiny, folks.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter who's in the freaking White House. It doesn't matter what. Be in control of your own freaking destiny and buying and selling your house for the absolute most you can get for it.
Yes.
Doesn't freaking matter who is buying it. Now, if you want to make an argument that that the Trump voters are predominantly assholes and you don't want to deal with assholes, well, sorry, there's plenty of Democrats that are assholes too, right? So there's no party affiliation for jerks, right?
True.
So look, you're trying to control something that is not worth controlling. Just focus on getting the absolute most net you can for your home. That's it. Period. Anything else?
No.
Now we got that solved.
Yeah.
You idiot. I can't even believe that.
I know. It's,
Can you imagine being that person's agent?
I would just. Sorry.
I hear wild things. I mean, everybody hears wild things, and you go, God damn it. It's like, it's just common sense, I would think.
Yeah.
Get as much money as you can.
Yeah. I mean, I don't list homes, so I don't really have that experience of ridiculous demands for sellers.
Yeah, right.
And
I've heard a few recently that are just, you just can't believe it. Well, it's just, I mean, look, people are going through stressful situations, and I get it. It's, but it's almost like shooting themselves in the foot, and not listening to, what really, trained professionals are trying to tell them. And it's, you can talk somebody until you're blue in the face. If they heard on a website or something like that, I read an article once. I'm like, well, shit, dude.
Right.
All right. Yeah, trust that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Not the guy that you hired to do what you're supposed to do.
Right.
So, all right, cool. Well, that's about it for today. If you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to leave them for us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Clarified Realty Podcast, all one word. If you have any questions about real estate or you're looking for someone to help you buy or sell a home, remember, I'm actually a licensed real estate agent. I'd love to help you out, so please email me directly at tom@clarifiedrealty.com or give me a call at 818-335-7662. Don't be shy, guys. Come on, give me a ring. For more exclusive bonus content and advice between episodes, please check out our website, www.clarifiedrealty.com. Also on our homepage, you'll find links to helpful buyer and seller guides that can give you some really great information for starting your home buying or home seller process, so definitely check those out. Here's something we're very proud of. We have a top-ranked Alexa skill. We actually are top ranked for real estate skills and for Realtor. If you look for real estate or Realtor, you'll find us in the top 10, so we're really proud of that. So search the Alexa store for the Clarified Realty Podcast, add our skill to your daily briefing, and get a dose of real estate news and tips every day of the year. It's definitely cool. Give it a try. I'm on Snapchat, Twitter, and Instagram as well. My handle for all three of those are @ClarifiedRealty. Please leave feedback and reviews on iTunes or in the comments section on our page. Together we're stronger, so if you have any questions or ways that we can make this podcast better, please let us know. My amazing theme song, Hey Now, is from the band Wolf. That's Wolf with 2 Fs. And please go check them out and like them on SoundCloud. And just a little fine print here. My brokerage is Keller Williams & Encino Sherman Oaks. I'm licensed by the California Bureau of Real Estate, and my license number is 01715353. Ron's is
Guaranteed rate, NMLS ID 2611, NMLS 558706, California and Texas.
The advice we give is only for properties located in the state of California. For all other states, please contact your local real estate agent or real estate professional. Well, that's about it, Ron. You all good?
I'm good.
All right. Well, thanks for coming by, everybody. Remember, the greatest thing you can ever do is make someone feel at home. Take care. We'll see you next week.